There are plants people toss without thinking. They don't bloom, they don't smell like anything, and honestly, they just sit there. So we pull them out, give them away, or leave them in a corner to dry out. But here's something curious. Walk into a wealthy person's home and you might find those same boring plants sitting front and center. Not because they're trendy or expensive, but because they've learned something most people overlook. These plants aren't decoration. They're placement pieces, energy anchors, silent filters for the spaces we live in. And whether you believe in energy flow or not, your body already does. You've walked into rooms that made your chest tighten for no reason. You've stepped into places that felt safe before anyone spoke. That's not mysticism, it's how your nervous system reads space. And some plants quietly shift that feeling without a single sound. The truth is, the difference between a space that drains you and one that restores you isn't always about square footage or furniture. Sometimes it's about what's growing quietly in the corner. And while many of us remove the very plants that help balance a home, others are placing them right where energy enters and letting them do their quiet work. In this video, we'll look at 6 plants that often get dismissed by those struggling and embraced by those who seem to thrive. You won't need to believe in luck or miracles. Just notice where your attention lands and how certain plants, without doing much at all, change the way a home feels. Ready to look again at what you might have thrown away. 1. Osmanthus, the plant that scents the air with peace. You might have walked past it a dozen times without ever noticing. Small leaves, no flashy flowers, no dramatic posture. Just a quiet plant that seems like it doesn't do much. And maybe that's why so many people don't keep it. They say, it doesn't smell like anything, or it's not pretty enough, and leave it outside forgotten. But the wealthy, the ones who seem to live in spaces that always feel settled, calm, intentional, they keep it close on balconies, near entryways, in quiet corners where breeze meets light. The Osmanthus plant, to most it's just another green thing. But in certain homes, it's treated like a soft-spoken guest who makes everything feel lighter the moment they enter. The truth is, Osmanthus doesn't overpower a room. It doesn't shout for attention, but it releases something into the air that isn't loud, it's comforting. Its scent isn't floral. It's clean, warm, slightly honeyed, and oddly familiar, like the air in someone's home you didn't want to leave. And that's the thing. People don't always remember a plant, but they remember how a space made them feel. Osmanthus works on that level. It doesn't impress the eye. It settles the nervous system. There's something deeply American about wanting results we can see. A bigger sofa, a brighter wall, a louder scent. And yet the most transformative changes often come from what we don't see right away. Osmanthus isn't about surface, it's about tone. Think of it this way, some homes feel sharp, rushed, overly bright. Others feel soft, clear, and grounded. It's not luck, it's design, and plants like Osmanthus set that tone. It filters the harshness. It gives space a pulse that doesn't intrude but invites. You walk in and feel like you've stepped into a place that's not just organized, but emotionally safe. Some people think that feeling comes from luxury furniture or custom paint. But often it's the little things that change everything. A plant with roots in calmness. A scent that isn't loud but lingers. A placement that catches just enough light to glow a little in the morning. Wealthy homeowners may not talk about this plant like a secret, but they understand its value. They know that peace isn't accidental. It's cultivated, not just in bank accounts, but in air and energy. Osmanthus doesn't need much. In fact, it does best when left to be what it is. Stable, unbothered, subtle. Place it in soft, natural light. East-facing windows, open balconies, entryway corners that get morning breeze. Don't crowd it. Don't smother it, let it breathe, because that's what it does for the room in return. In homes where people constantly feel overwhelmed, too many screens, too much noise, too many schedules, Osmanthus creates a kind of quiet that doesn't feel empty. It feels healing. Its scent doesn't hit you like perfume. It finds you gently over time. It's the difference between artificial vanilla and the smell of real bread baking in a kitchen. One shouts, the other stays with you. And the science? It's there if you need it. Natural plant fragrance interacts with the brain's emotional center. Osmanthus is known to ease anxiety, calm the breath, lower tension. But even if you didn't know that, your body does. It relaxes near this plant, and that's the only proof most people need. Here's what makes it interesting. Osmanthus doesn't bloom all the time. Sometimes it's just there, green, patient, and that's exactly why some people get rid of it. It stopped smelling, they say, or it's not doing anything anymore. But maybe it's just waiting, like a friend who doesn't fill silences with chatter but shows up when you actually need them. The mistake we make is expecting every plant to perform. But Osmanthus isn't here to entertain. It's here to stabilize. Wealthy homes understand the rhythm of a space. That energy isn't constant. It swells, fades, pulses, and having something in the home that knows how to wait, that's powerful. Because so much of wealth isn't about gain, it's about keeping what matters from leaking away. Osmanthus does that in a way no object can. There's another side to this plant that's easy to miss. It's resilience. It doesn't wilt easily. It doesn't panic in weather changes. It adapts. It's a mirror of emotional strength, not reactive, not dramatic, but deeply rooted. And when you place it in the right spot, it works quietly as a filter for space. It clears what's stagnant, not in a magical way, but in a real, lived-in way. It's not a cure for a chaotic life, but it's a quiet help. Something that doesn't need to be center stage, but helps the whole room feel more like home. Most people spend money trying to fix their environment by adding more. More lighting, more things. But what if the shift you need isn't bigger, it's gentler? Osmanthus offers that option. Not as a trend, not as a solution, but as a presence. Something stable in a space that changes too often. And when you choose to keep it, really care for it, you'll notice the change isn't dramatic. It's slow, but it stays. The space softens. People pause before raising their voices. The air feels less heavy when you walk in from the outside world. And all of that from a plant that doesn't demand to be seen. So no, it won't win garden awards. It won't bloom for Instagram. But Osmanthus has a purpose. And if you place it where the home breathes, if you let it be part of the rhythm, you might find that it gives more than you expected. Not in things, but in space, in breath. In the simple return of calm after too much noise. The rich may not talk about this plant, but they don't remove it either. They know peace has to be placed, just like anything else worth keeping. 2. Magnolia, the tree that blooms before it grows leaves. Some trees wait to leaf out before they bloom. Not Magnolia, it opens first. Full unapologetic blossoms, without the cover of leaves, without camouflage, without hesitation. There's something deeply human about that. It doesn't wait to be ready. It doesn't dress up before revealing itself. It just arrives. And for that reason alone, many people overlook it. They say it looks bare, exposed, even strange. But those who understand presence, timing, and power without performance, they know exactly what kind of energy the magnolia brings. The wealthy don't plant magnolia for decoration. They plant it as a statement, a reminder that the most impactful things in life happen before we're fully prepared. And that clarity doesn't always need approval before it shows up. Magnolia isn't a tree that tries to impress. Its flowers are not loud. They are elegant, strong without being aggressive, simple without being plain. It's the kind of beauty you don't notice in a catalog, but remember in a conversation. People in high-pressure careers, leadership roles, or creative fields often plant magnolia for a reason. It doesn't shout ideas, it holds space for them. The magnolia energy is one of internal clarity, of thought before motion, of knowing who you are before explaining yourself. In a culture that rewards fast decisions, bright packaging, and constant output, Magnolia says, "Not yet, but soon, and when I arrive, you'll know." It's no coincidence that successful people lean toward plants that reflect their inner rhythm. Magnolia blooms when it's time, not when it's expected, and that's a different kind of strength. Think of the magnolia as the introvert of the garden. It doesn't fill a space with noise, it fills it with integrity. And the moment it blooms, something changes in the air. There's a stillness, not because everything stopped, but because something important just began. The tree doesn't grow to shade others. It grows to show them it's possible to flourish without fanfare, And that's exactly why some people remove it. It doesn't fit the definition of useful. It doesn't provide dense cover or bright fruit or constant color, but it offers something else, an atmosphere, a vibration, a pause. In homes where people are building things, businesses, books, relationships, the presence of Magnolia is more than aesthetic. It reflects the quiet phase before a breakthrough, the clarity before the decision, and it teaches everyone in the home that blooming can happen even before everything feels ready. That you don't need all the answers to show up for your life, that it's okay to lead with honesty, even when it feels vulnerable. In terms of placement, Magnolia doesn't need a complicated plan. It prefers a stable spot with moderate sunlight. Not too harsh, not too shaded. It thrives in the kind of space where energy isn't scattered, like a side garden visible from a workroom window or near a back patio where coffee is had in silence. The idea is to let the tree be felt, not just seen. Magnolia is not about dominance, it's about alignment. Put it somewhere you go to think, to center, to stop explaining yourself for a moment and remember your own voice. Here's something you might not expect. Magnolia pairs well with another tree, golden cinnamon, not visually, energetically. Together they create what some call a wealth and wisdom field. One offers clarity, the other prosperity. One blooms first, the other stabilizes. This pairing is common in the gardens of those who understand success isn't about speed, it's about balance. That a career isn't just about results, but resilience. That wealth without groundedness is loud but fleeting. But with the right roots, it grows quietly and stays. There's a lesson in Magnolia that goes beyond gardening. In a world that tells us to prove ourselves, Magnolia says, you don't have to. Show up when it's right. Bloom when you're ready. And don't be afraid to do it without the leaves, without the armor, without the extras. That kind of energy shifts a household. It teaches children to value their thoughts before their looks. It reminds adults that their timing is not broken. And it creates a space where ideas don't have to be rushed to be real. Some people say, it doesn't flower long. And that's true, but maybe that's the point. You don't remember Magnolia because it's always blooming. You remember it because when it does, the room changes. Like someone walked in with something to say and said it with silence. That kind of presence doesn't require repetition. It just needs to be placed where it can be felt. If you've removed a Magnolia before, because it looked bare or didn't fit your design, maybe now you see what it was holding. Not just branches and blossoms, but a model for living, for speaking up before everything's perfect, for standing steady without applause, for being the first to bloom, not to impress, but to begin. And if you still have one or plan to plant one, don't worry about what others say. Don't rush it. Don't decorate around it. Just let it grow. Let it teach. And notice how you too begin to speak more clearly when standing near it. 3. Maple, the tree that changes with the seasons like destiny itself. Change is hard. Even when we say we're ready for it, something inside us resists. The unknown, the loss of routine, the fear that what comes next might not be better, but walk past a maple tree in fall and something shifts. Those blazing red and golden leaves don't whisper about change. They shout it unapologetically. The tree doesn't cling, it lets go, not slowly, not secretly, boldly. And still it stands, rooted, steady. It knows the shedding is part of its design, and that kind of energy, visible, seasonal transformation, is why many homes that welcome abundance and forward momentum include this tree in their space. The maple doesn't just grow, it evolves. It shows you that beauty isn't just in blooming, but in turning, in releasing, in becoming something else. In homes where people feel stuck, where ideas stall, where energy grows thick, maple acts like an energetic switch. A reminder that no matter how long you've been in one season, another is always waiting. And you don't have to force it, you just have to allow it. Many people see the falling leaves as mess. They sweep them too quickly, try to contain the shift. But those who understand rhythm, progress, real wealth, not just financial, but emotional, know that the maple's greatest gift is what it teaches about timing. That some things must fall away before new strength can take hold. That letting go isn't loss, it's motion. Maple isn't loud in spring. It begins with soft, green, fresh, and light. Nothing dramatic, just quiet readiness. But come autumn, it transforms the entire street. And that's the lesson. Not everything powerful starts off bold. Some power builds, and when it arrives, it changes everything in a single breath. The tree doesn't need attention, it commands it at the right moment. Just like life, just like your path when it's aligned. In energy terms, maple carries both wood and fire. It starts grounded, stable, growth-oriented, but turns to fire energy as it reddens. Fire brings momentum, visibility, recognition. That's why maple is often planted in the southeast area of the yard, the part associated with wealth and opportunity. Not because it guarantees success, but because it holds a pattern. Slow build, brave shift, vibrant result. Homes with maple tend to feel alive even when quiet. Not busy, vibrant. There's a difference. And people inside those homes often experience moments of sudden clarity, renewed focus, or simply a feeling that something has opened. Placement matters. Maple needs light, but not harsh exposure. It needs room, but not emptiness. Southeast-facing corners of a yard, places where you tend to pause naturally, these are ideal, because maple is a reflector. It mirrors your inner seasons. If you plant it where you never look, it won't offer its message. But plant it where you pass by with coffee in hand, or where the kids play, or where you park the car, and its energy becomes part of your daily language. You'll notice it more than you think, and when it begins to change, you'll feel it, not just see it. There's a reason people who have faced major transitions, retirement, career shifts, deep grief, even new beginnings, gravitate toward maple. It doesn't fix anything, but it understands. It's the tree that tells you, change doesn't break you, it reveals you. And if you place it right, it helps hold that space of becoming without judgment. Even when it's bare in winter, the branches don't sag in shame, they rest, confident in what comes next. How many of us could benefit from holding ourselves like that? It's also worth saying maple isn't fast. It doesn't give instant energy like citrus trees or herbs. Its effect is layered long-term. If you're looking for a quick shift, it may seem too slow. But if you're ready for real change, the kind that lasts, that grows from inside out, this tree supports you like few others. Wealthy homes understand that sometimes the biggest change starts quietly. That progress doesn't always announce itself. It emerges, like color through a leaf that's been green all year. Caring for maple is simple, but mindful. It needs healthy soil with good drainage, and regular water in dry periods. But more than that, it needs attention. Don't plant it and ignore it. Maple responds to energy, to presence. The more you notice it, the more it connects. And when its leaves begin to turn, take time to be there, not to prune, not to manage, just to witness. Watch one leaf fall and realize that nature never doubts its own cycle. Why should you? If your life feels like it's in between, no longer where you were, not yet where you want to be, maple is a good tree to have around. It holds space for the middle, for the mess, for the not quite yet, and that holding space, it's a kind of emotional wealth most of us forget to value. Some homes are full of things, but have no room for pause. Maple brings that room. It says, you can move forward, but you don't have to rush. And in a world pushing you to perform faster, be louder, do more, that message is everything. So maybe the question isn't, should I plant a maple? The question is, do I need a mirror for my own transformation? Something to walk past that doesn't judge the fact you're not who you used to be, or not yet who you want to be, but still growing, still shifting, still able to light up a room without warning. That's the maple, the tree that doesn't hide its changes and teaches you neither should you. 4. Buddha pine, the tree that doesn't speak but shields. Not everything that protects you makes noise. Some things don't warn, don't bark, don't shine. They just stand there and shield. The Buddha pine is one of them. It doesn't bloom, it doesn't perfume the air, it doesn't offer shade you can nap under. But it does one thing, silently and with absolute clarity, it guards. People often talk about security in terms of locks, fences, alarms. But energetic protection, the kind you don't see but feel, is often more powerful. It's that invisible line between peace and intrusion, between chaos outside and calm inside. And this tree, sturdy, grounded, still creates that line without ever saying a word. In homes that feel scattered, tense, or too open to outside energy, the Buddha pine acts like a quiet bouncer. Not aggressive, not cold, but unmistakably firm. It holds space the way an elder does, by being present, reliable, immovable when it matters. That's why you'll find it in the entryways of many well-balanced homes, not just for beauty, but to command the energy before it ever reaches the door. People don't always notice it, but they feel it. The space feels heavier in the best way, grounded, contained, like nothing can slip in unless it's meant to. We live in a world that overshares, open floor plans, open inboxes, open emotions all day long. But openness without boundaries isn't freedom, it's exposure. And that's where this tree steps in. It teaches a different language, one where protection isn't about walls but presence, where you don't need to block everything, just balance what comes in. Homes with Buddha pine near the front entrance often experience fewer disruptions, fewer sleepless nights, fewer misunderstandings, fewer off feelings no one can explain. Because when you guard the energy at the edge, it doesn't have a chance to flood the center. The Buddha pine isn't flashy. Its needles are strong but soft to the touch. Its shape is upright, structured, with branches that feel like they're holding something together. And in a way, they are. The tree carries what can only be called grounding frequency. When placed near entrances, especially in pairs, it creates a threshold, a quiet marker between the noise of the outside world and the stillness of your home. Wealthy homes often pair them, not because it looks good, but because the energy works better that way. Like two silent sentinels, the trees align with each other and stabilize the flow of Kai, life energy, right where it begins to shift. This isn't about superstition, it's about spatial intelligence. We've all walked into spaces that feel scattered the moment we step in, as if the world outside followed you in. But then there are homes where you cross the threshold and feel your shoulders drop. You exhale deeper, you say less but mean more. That's not an accident. That's boundary. And the Buddha pine creates that feeling without saying anything. Just like a good leader doesn't need to raise their voice, their presence speaks first. Placement is everything. Put the tree near your main entry. Let it have space to stand, not squeezed, not hidden behind clutter. Let it mark the transition from public to private, from task to rest, from effort to ease. If your home sits at a T-junction near a noisy road, or feels like it's constantly taking on the energy of neighbors, this tree is even more important. It won't fix your floor plan, but it will interrupt the flow just enough to keep you centered. That interruption isn't blockage, it's filtration. It lets in what supports you and holds out what doesn't. In energy terms, Buddha pine holds a strong, steady yang vibration. That means it radiates from the inside out, anchoring a space with consistent strength. It's especially helpful in homes where people feel overwhelmed easily or where anxiety seems to rise without cause. This tree helps the energy slow down, gather itself, settle. And that creates room for clarity, not because the tree is magical, but because the nervous system responds to order, stability, and containment. And the Buddha pine offers all three. Taking care of it is simple. Give it air, give it light. Water it steadily, not too much, not too little. But more than anything, give it purpose. Don't plant it randomly. Let it know it's there for a reason. And if you want to amplify its energy, pair it with a quiet stone, a small wind chime, or a clean, unobstructed path leading to your door. These elements work together, not because of tradition, but because they create a sensory message. This space is protected. This home has structure. This energy knows where to rest. The tree isn't meant to intimidate, it's meant to remind that you don't need to be loud to be clear. That quiet strength is still strength. That presence alone can shift an entire space. And in a culture that prizes performance, that's a powerful thing to remember. If you're someone who often feels drained after visitors, or who notices tension the moment you walk through your own door, consider this tree. Not because it solves problems, but because it keeps them from crossing the threshold. The Buddha pine isn't glamorous. It doesn't demand praise. but it belongs to a lineage of protectors that don't need recognition to do their work. Just like the people in your life who stand guard when you're too tired to speak up. The ones who say, "I've got this," without drama. That's the energy this tree brings. Quiet defense, still protection, and the feeling that maybe, just maybe, you don't need to fix everything inside if you simply guard what comes in from the outside. So no, it won't bloom, but it will hold the line. And in a world that never seems to pause, that might be the most valuable gift of all. 5. Sego Palm, the tree that holds wealth in its arms. Some plants chase the sun. Others quietly gather what's already here. The Sego Palm does neither. It doesn't reach. It doesn't compete. It simply holds. Its wide, open fronds spread out like arms, strong, patient, grounded. And in homes where wealth is built and protected, not just earned, it's often found near the entrance, in corners of courtyards, or beside gates. Not because it's pretty, but because it knows how to keep what's already flowing. The Sego Palm is the tree of containment. It doesn't just symbolize wealth, it knows how to hold it. Not like a vault, like a keeper. A tree that says what comes in stays in if you make space for it to root. In most suburban neighborhoods, it's just a landscaping choice. Low maintenance, slow growing, drought tolerant. But if you walk through the front yards of people who have long-term wealth, not sudden, not flashy but steady, you'll often find a Sego Palm anchoring the energy like a quiet guardian. It's not decorative, it's directional. Its fronds form a shape that energetically circles inward as if to say, let's gather this. And in a world where money moves faster than thought, that matters, because not all abundance comes from earning. Some comes from holding, from knowing how to create a space that doesn't leak value. This plant doesn't bloom often. In fact, when it does, it's a moment, rare, subtle, but powerful. The bloom of a Sego Palm isn't bright or loud, but it's significant. It marks maturity, stability, a kind of energetic fullness that doesn't need to be proved. When a Sego Palm flowers, it's like the space around it exhales, as if something long held has just become visible. In homes where big deals close, where families stay rooted across generations, where transitions feel smooth instead of stressful, you'll often find this plant nearby, not causing the success, holding it. Sego Palm carries the weight of earth energy. It doesn't move fast, but it stays solid. And that's why it pairs well with people who manage a lot, business owners, parents of large families, those who deal with responsibility that can't be outsourced. It doesn't compete with your strength, it supports it. Its structure, dense, symmetrical, layered, mirrors the kind of thinking that leads to financial longevity. Strategic, intentional, grounded, this plant won't give you a boost, it gives you a base. And placement, it matters. Don't shove it into a tight corner. Don't crowd it with lawn furniture or squeeze it between stepping stones. It needs space to open fully, like someone stretching after a long rest. Front yards, side gates, or inner courtyards with airflow are ideal. Places where energy enters but also has room to settle. And never put it in a dark hallway or windowless corner. Its energy is too expansive to be boxed in. When the plant struggles, drooping, yellowing, getting too wet, it often reflects something in the home that's stuck. A decision unmade, a budget out of balance, a conversation delayed. Like all plants, it's not the source of the energy, it's the mirror. Watering this tree isn't about a schedule, it's about attention. When you water a Sego Palm, do it with care, not rushed, not distracted. Because this isn't a plant that thrives under pressure, it thrives under presence. If you want to elevate its role, bury a few coins beneath it, not for superstition, but as a gesture of value. Like saying to the earth, this space knows how to respect what it receives. The energy of metal below, wood above, earth in between, it's a quiet circuit of abundance, one you won't see but might start to feel. In homes where money comes and goes quickly, where people feel like no matter how hard they try, it slips away, this plant can help stabilize the field. Again, not by magic, but by changing the rhythm, slowing the pace, creating a visual and energetic message. What we keep with care. Its very shape says it. Arms not clinging, but open. Confident that what's meant to stay will. Confident that holding isn't fear, it's wisdom. Sego Palm also carries a sense of dignity. It doesn't wave, it doesn't wilt dramatically, it just holds, and in doing so, it teaches something many of us forget. That power doesn't have to look like motion. That wealth doesn't always mean growth. Sometimes the real sign of success is the ability to hold steady, to weather a storm, to remain clear, centered, grounded. This plant does that better than most, and it does it without show. If your home has felt financially unsteady, even if you've done everything right, consider the space itself. Is there anything that says, I know how to keep this? Not just earn, but keep. Not just attract, but stabilize. The Sego Palm brings that frequency. It's not fast, but it's deep. Not for everyone, but essential for those ready to shift from chasing to containing. So no, it won't fill your room with scent. It won't bloom often, but it will stand like a steward in the corner of your space. And if you let it, it will show you how to hold wealth not as a rush, but as a rhythm. Not as a prize, but as a presence. 6. Lemon tree living gold that cleanses the air itself. There's something about a lemon tree that feels alive in a different way. Not just because it grows real fruit you can touch, slice, and taste, but because it changes the air around it. The scent isn't perfumed. It's clean, crisp, awake. And in homes where energy tends to stagnate, where the air feels still, where the mood feels flat, a lemon tree doesn't just decorate the space, it refreshes it. Without making a sound, without needing attention, it quietly cuts through heaviness the way fresh air does after a storm. The lemon tree is living gold, and it belongs in homes that want more than just beauty, they want clarity. Many people plant lemon trees for the fruit, but the wealthy, they plant them for the feeling. Because the moment you walk past one, brush a leaf, or run your fingers along the peel of a ripening lemon, something shifts. You breathe deeper. You wake up a little inside. It doesn't ask anything of you. It just reminds you clean energy matters, and not just in the physical air, but in the emotional space of a home. Lemons carry a frequency that's sharp but not harsh, bright but not loud. They symbolize value, the color of gold, the roundness of coins, the completion of a cycle. And when they appear on a tree, not in a bowl, not at the store, but on the tree, the energy is different. It feels earned, grown, intentional. That matters more than we admit. Because fruit that grows where you live, where you walk by daily, where your hands tend the soil, carries a resonance nothing store-bought can match. It says, this space is alive, it provides, it supports. In terms of energy, the lemon tree combines two qualities most people crave but rarely cultivate together: strength and balance. It's a young plant. It brings alertness, movement, clarity, but it also harmonizes. It doesn't stir chaos. It sweeps it out, gently but thoroughly. That's why it works so well in places where energy pools and stagnates: corners, kitchens, laundry rooms, damp balconies. Not because it needs to correct the space, but because it naturally invites things to move. It says, let's not sit in this too long. And in homes where emotions tend to linger, resentment, indecision, heaviness, that message can change more than air. It can change the tone of a conversation, the way people breathe, and the way light feels on a Tuesday morning. Placement is flexible but purposeful. Near kitchen windows, secondary doorways, bathroom-adjacent balconies, anywhere energy needs movement but also clarity. You don't need a grove, just one healthy tree. Let it see light, let it breathe. Let it scent the morning air as you walk by. That's enough. That's more than enough. Because the goal isn't to collect lemons, it's to shift the energy before it gets stuck. And no matter how beautiful a house is, if the energy doesn't flow, it eventually weighs down everyone in it. The lemon tree doesn't just add flow, it adds lift. It also invites interaction. Unlike many ornamental plants, a lemon tree responds to care. You'll feel when it's thriving, you'll know when it needs something. It builds a relationship, and that relationship shows in the space around it. When it's healthy, the whole room feels lighter. When it starts to struggle, you'll feel it before you see it. It becomes a barometer for the emotional ecosystem of your home. Not magical, just honest. Some families water their lemon trees during certain hours, early morning or after dinner, because the energy at those times feels more intentional. There's a rhythm to it, a sense of showing up. And that's the real benefit of a lemon tree, not just the visual, not just the scent, but the practice. The chance to connect with something that gives back, quietly, steadily, without demanding more than care. If you want to take it further, you can add small touches. A glass chime nearby. A ceramic bowl buried at its base with 3 old coins inside, not because you need superstition, but because you're building layers of presence, of respect, of meaning. The lemon tree doesn't need those things, but it responds to intention, just like people do. In homes where there's been loss of money, of peace, of momentum, a lemon tree can be a reset point. Something that says we start again, clean, clear, alive, and it won't shout that message. But you'll feel it in the way people linger a little longer in that corner. The way the air smells different. The way guests pause and say, "What is that scent?" It's not luxury, it's not trend. It's alignment of energy, of season, of place. And when the tree bears fruit, it's not just about food, it's about fruition. That something here worked. That effort was met with return. That life, when cared for with consistency, responds. That's a powerful thing to have growing just outside your door. So no, it won't bloom for the holidays. It won't change color with the seasons. But it will stay green. It will stay awake. It will stay ready. And when everything else in life feels unclear, you can step outside, pick a lemon, and know one thing for certain: this space is still alive, still giving, still clean enough to begin again. Where you place it decides whether energy enters or escapes. Some people think it's just a plant, that once you own it, it'll do the work. But that's only half the story, because in any home, what matters isn't just what's there, but where it's placed. Energy doesn't fill a space equally. It moves, pauses, gets stuck, gets lost. It enters through doorways, gathers in corners, flows along walls. And a single plant placed with intention can shift that current, turning a stagnant room into a place that breathes again, or doing the opposite, blocking the flow, creating pressure, pulling energy down instead of lifting it up. Where you place something is where energy either enters or escapes. That's true for light, for warmth, for attention, and it's just as true for presence. You've seen it yourself. A candle on a cluttered shelf, lost. A plant hidden behind a sofa, forgotten. But move that same object into a corner with space, with light, with air, and suddenly it changes the whole mood of the room. That's not magic, that's alignment. Your home is talking to you all the time, through sound, through silence, through how it feels to sit in one chair versus another. And when you start listening, you realize it's not just decor, it's direction. So as you bring these 6 plants into your home, ask yourself, where does the energy enter here? Where does it get stuck? Where does it need a gentle nudge to move again? Because placing a plant in the right spot isn't just about looks. It's about inviting in what you want and making space for it to stay. Final, what you just watched wasn't really about plants, not completely. It was about energy, how it moves, how it settles, and how your home quietly reflects your inner world. Every corner holds a vibration, every space tells a story. And sometimes all it takes is one carefully chosen living thing, planted with intention, placed with care, to start rewriting that story. These 6 plants aren't lucky charms. They're companions. They hold energy patterns that many people overlook, but your body doesn't. That's why walking past a lemon tree feels different than walking past a cactus. That's why a maple in full color makes you pause without knowing why. These are signals, not mystical, just deeply human, because the spaces we live in don't just shape how we move, they shape how we feel, how we rest, how we grow. If there's one thing to take away, it's this: wealth isn't only built in banks. It's built in quiet rooms, in steady rhythms, in air that feels light and calm and clean. And when we choose to bring living things into our homes, not just for aesthetics, but for alignment, we remind ourselves that the life we want isn't out there somewhere. It's already forming right here, at our windowsills, in our soil, through our attention. So thank you for staying, for feeling, for being open to seeing your space in a new way. May your home become a place where energy flows freely, where what you need can find you, and where peace in its quiet and steady form always knows where to land. Until next time, take care of your space and let it take care of you.